But welcome everybody to our event 4, the final event for 2025 for our WIL Community of Practice. And we decided with the end of the year, we might do a sort of celebration of some good practice that's happening across Macquarie. So, oh great. Thanks, Jen. Come on. There we go. We're meeting on the lands of the Wadamadigal clan of the Darug Nation, and I pay my respects to elders past and present and acknowledge that they're...
It's not sharing on Zoom.
It's not sharing. And acknowledge that there's much that we can learn from one another, and that work integrated learning provides really important opportunities too for being inclusive, accounting for diverse views and ways of being. And if we can incorporate that in our learnings and our teachings and our ways of being, that's got to be a good thing, right? Now, I'm just going to dip back to the Zoom and share my screen because we have a problem here. There we go. Sorry about that. Maybe I'm just going to move this up here. Sorry, I'm just for ease of seeing the screen. All right. We generally have a sort of format we follow, and we like to include some announcements. And then I'm going to introduce our guest speakers. I will show you the Macquarie University WIL Toolkit, which is something that Jen Ruskin has been working really hard to get together, and use this as a chance to show you where that is and what it looks like. We may have some time for a bit of a reflection and additional Q&A, we'll see. I always think an hour and a half is a lot of time, and then it just seems to go. So there you go. So announcements, we've got upcoming events. There's a WIL chapter-led conversation coming up. The slides will be shared, so you'll be able to register using the slides, but I'll also send out the newsletter because we understand that there are people in the community who for some reason aren't getting the newsletter. We're not sure why. It's something happening on the WIL Australia end. For the diary, the conference is coming up at the end of next year. And this is a wonderful opportunity. If you are researching in this space, so doing work on your pedagogy, it's a lovely opportunity for you to either submit showcases, roundtable discussions. So check that out. You've got a whole year to plan what you might like to do in that space. If you're interested in collaborating on something, reach out to either Jen or Kate or myself, and we can help coordinate sometimes because often we're doing similar sorts of things. And there's a chance to do a showcase, a collective practice. Marina Harvey hosted a session last year for us on reflective practice, and it was really popular. Marina is an expert in this space. She has offered or indicated she's willing to come back and do some more if we as a group think that would like that. So what do people think about that? Yep. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Okay. Great.
And it would be interactive, so probably just run face-to-face, unless people strongly, if people can't make it, then we could set it up so it is online, because part of doing the reflective practice is also devising ways of doing it so it's online. So we'll maybe put a call out beforehand for people to let us know if they can face-to-face.
That's great. If you didn't hear online, we will put out a call relating to the reflection workshop that Marina might offer and get people's interest in the format and content, that sort of stuff. WACE, I'm not sure if we've talked about WACE in the past, but WACE is an international peak body that is focused on work integrated learning, cooperative education internationally. We have Australian universities and scholars that are active in that space. They put out newsletters, resources, they host conferences. So I've included a link there for people who maybe haven't been aware of WACE. So that's another space that you can actively engage with or participate with. Right, showcase speakers. So I'm just delighted and really thankful that we had some people put up their hand and say, yes, we would happily share some of our practices, things that we know that work. And we have these three speakers. So Pardis, who is joining us face-to-face, is from the Department of Marketing. And Pardis is a senior lecturer in business, faculty course director of Master of Commerce and former course director of Master of Marketing, and head of major in Master of Business at Macquarie Business School. Pardis has a PhD in business marketing and a master's in business administration in marketing international business, with 15 years of teaching and leadership experience in the tertiary sector. So Pardis collaborates very closely with industry, as we would expect from one of our WIL champions, and has worked on projects with the New South Wales Department of Education, Transport, New South Wales Department of Health and Austrade. So thank you, Pardis, for joining us. And we have Ali Amrah. See, I had it before. Ali Amrahali joining us, also from business. So a very active WIL space, which is unsurprising. Ali is a lecturer in Business Information Systems at the Department of Actuarial Studies and Business Analytics here in the business school. Ali's teaching journey commenced in 2013 in Australia, and you have worked in the UK, is marked by innovation and student-centred approaches. He has several teaching grants and actively engages in projects enhancing technology-aided learning, which I think we're going to get a lovely look at today, employability skills and collaborative learning environments. And currently your teaching focuses on practical applications of information systems and disruptive technologies. Boy, are we feeling that. And include across things like blockchain, cybersecurity and business processes. And so thank you, Ali, for coming. And then Professor Deb Richards. Unfortunately, Deb hasn't been feeling 100%, but she has still graciously agreed to join us and will be coming to us online. And Deborah is from the School of Computing in the Faculty of Science and Engineering, and her research interests cover intelligent virtual agents, virtual reality for education and health, virtual worlds and knowledge acquisition. She has over 300 publications, which is breathtaking, and is an award-winning researcher and teacher with a depth of experience in this WIL space. I think you're also currently the Industry and External Relations Director for the school and the Director of Virtual Reality Lab. Not if I've got that right. Awesome.
Yep, that's right, yeah.
Very, very busy. So we're really appreciative of you making it today and sharing your expertise. So each of the speakers are going to go in the order of introduction. I gave rough advice around 10 or 15 minutes, present, have some time for Q&A, but we all know how these things sometimes roll. We will aim for that. If we run out of time for Q&A, we will have maybe some time at the back end. So think of questions as the presenters are presenting. If we don't get to them, we'll hang on to those for further along. So, Pardis, thanks for coming along.
On my slides, that's
They are.
here. All right. It's a great pleasure for me as well to be here and have this opportunity to present, you know, a couple of those things that I've done. So as Jacqueline mentioned, well, I'm also very passionate about integrating industry in any sort of ways in my teaching. And I have received so many great feedback from my students, and that's the real feedback that I really care about. So whenever my students are happy about it, they give me verbal, non-verbal, whatever feedback that you might think. And I learn from them, actually. So I should thank them for helping me to improve my practice every day. Anyway, so I have been appointed as the Director of Master of Commerce this year. And the capstone unit has been allocated to me to teach as well. So, and one of the changes that I wanted to make in the capstone unit, the MQBS 8000, was to integrate the industry and have the real world project for the students to work on it. Specifically, since the capstone unit, I felt that that's necessary. I mean, that's a must for any capstone unit. Hence, the changes that you will see in the unit. Just very briefly talking about what has been done. Technically, one of the assessments, which has about like 45% of their mark is that project. It's a group project. It has two components, the written component and also the presentation component, which is the pitch basically to the industry. The focus is on developing either or proposing a product or a program or any initiative in line with the problem that the industry is putting forward for the student. And also the topic will be closely related to UN SDGs or UN development goals. Sorry, I'm not using the mic. I'm not sure if my voice is good enough for my colleagues online, but if it's not, please let me know, because I moved over there, so I'm not sure how it sounds to you. But anyway, yeah, as I was saying, students are supposed to, so students are supposed to actually, let me just, okay, I'm not sure if we have a camera for you guys to be able to see the speaker.
Oh, we tried. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, as I was saying, so they need to develop a real product or an initiative or program in line with the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And then I have tried to also put forward some of the skills that we're developing here, especially as a capstone unit, such as critical thinking, ethical thinking is one thing that I had a very heavy focus on, teamwork, and also obviously sustainability awareness as well. And then I will explain the little details that are embedded in this program as well, in this initiative as well later. But just to be, just to provide an overview of some of our industry partners, the Baptist World Aid and also the City of Ryde are the two partners that we have invited to the MQBS 8000 in the Master of Commerce. The other industry partners are the ones that I have used a similar structure, but in another unit, integrated, again, the industry, but following the same steps in the Bachelor of Commerce, because I'm also using a core unit in the Bachelor of Commerce as well, and I have integrated the industry in that unit quite similarly, not that extensive, but also I'm following the same steps to some extent. So yeah, these are some of our industry partners, and City of Ryde is this semester's industry partner. Thanks to Kat, our corporate partnership manager as well at MQ level. And we have managed to liaise with the City of Ryde and, sort of invited them to be our industry partner, and they have kindly accepted to be part of the project. The focus of this project was on circular economy, waste management more specifically. So the roadmap for the students is that first we usually have a briefing session where the industry comes to the classroom, and it's about like 1 hour around week 5 or 6. They come to the classroom and then they just introduce the problem. It's more it's more like an industry interview, if I interview. And then they explain the challenges, the problems that they want us to work on. For example, as I said, for City of Ryde was on how to engage the residents and the businesses in the waste management process, how to educate the residents about all those interesting activities that the City of Ryde is doing currently, and so on. So students technically start working on it around week 5, and then they can start working on it. And then in week 8 or 9, we do have the industry Q&A mentorship session. For example, this week, again, the lead of the waste management team from City of Ryde, they came back to the classroom, to the lecture room actually, and they responded to the questions that students had because they have already started working on it. So they had some good questions to ask from the industry partner, and they have kindly accepted to come back to the lecture room again and have this face-to-face interaction with the students. And then around week 10, exactly at the end of week 10, they will submit their written report, and also at the end of week 11, they will submit their group presentation. Having said that, at the end of each workshop, or we call that seminar, we allocate around 20 minutes of the class time to help students face-to-face with the project. So they will have the stand-up meetings per group, and they start working on the project together. And I will also, and my colleagues, my teaching team also help the students through the whole process as well every week. So it's a step-by-step process for them. And then at the end of the semester, usually it's week 13. Last semester, structure was a bit different. So we had the pitch days on weeks 12 and 13, but this semester it's only week 13, because I wanted to make sure that the industry partner would only need to come back to the campus only once, not twice. So to just save some time for them as well. And then that's where we will showcase like top 10 to 12 best presentations, and those will be judged by myself and the industry partner and my teaching team. And there we do have a specific separate rubric, not a marking rubric, separate rubric for judging, because this showcase is not marked. Basically, students are marked based on the presentation and the written report. And once we showcase their pitches, if they are among those top 3 groups, they will get a certificate of achievement and also a small gift from the MQBS as well. And then I will showcase and I will try to promote their success on LinkedIn and other, MQBS sources, websites as well. I'm sorry, I talked a lot. And this is what happens. I'm almost done. So that's, the first from semester 1 with the Baptist World. So the focus of this project was on ethical fashion, which was an interesting topic for the students to work on. And this semester, as I said, it was on circular economy and City of Ryde. And then some of the photos from the briefing session of last semester and this semester and the mentorship session. And some of the photos from the pitch days of last semester. The pitch day of this semester will be in week 13, obviously, so I don't have any photos of those as well to show. And the award ceremony. And then that's the final photo for our students, hopefully happy students. And that's it. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Questions for Pardis? Yes,
So the pitch at the end of the semester, you do not mark them. And they have the option not to do that if they
They don't need to present. Once they submit their video, the video presentation, it's a real video that I will showcase. And since they want to have this opportunity to win, basically, or be among the winners, they all come and they all participate actually. So that's why I created that extra motivation for them with the certificate and such that. And they will come, they will stay in front of the audience and they will answer to the questions as well. So we will showcase. And once they have done that, that's an opportunity for them to take accountability for what they've done as well. And then we usually ask some questions, like some, sort of deeper questions to see how they can answer, but, and then they will be basically scored based on, and not the presentation, but based on the thing that they have provided there as well.
I thought this was a really interesting example of decoupling a task from assessment, because we often think that assessment is the driver of it is a driver of behaviour, but to see an additional task that is non-assessable, I think is an interesting practice.
Thank you. It's really authentic. I think that's
Yeah.
the area. I was thinking it's fantastic. I think it's just for the context, for the business. I'm sorry,
The unit
context, I guess.
business
It is very, very. I was just wondering. Sorry, did you
No,
want to
no.
say something? You have international students.
I do, yes.
So and this is their last.
Usually the last unit that they take.
Right. So they still need some scaffolding in language and.
Not really. I mean, they're doing quite well. They're coming from different disciplines. So Master of Commerce has like 10 majors, 10 specializations. And my students are having different skill sets in terms of like the specializations that they are taking. And that's a core essential unit. So everyone needs to take this unit, obviously. So, as you said, they usually take this unit at the end of their journey. But I still felt that if we work on different skills, or not the skills, like these different steps that they need to take from the start of the semester, like early on, that helps them to and will keep them on the track as well. So that, in that sense, yes, we do some scaffolding as well.
Yeah. Fantastic. Thank you.
My pleasure.
I think the making time in class as well is another interesting aspect to like these kinds of project-based activities.
Exactly.
Yeah. So would you say that that's an essential ingredient, part as to helping the success of the students to carve out time in the seminars for teaching staff to work with the groups?
Yeah, I mean, because that's like having these stand-up meetings at the end also is a skill to learn as well. Working as a team also. I know that it's difficult to manage teams when as a teaching staff. We there are some complications when it comes to teams and teamwork, and sometimes students they struggle or they complain about team members and so on. But I always tell them, whenever you graduate, you need to work within a team. So instead of complaining, let's learn the skill of dealing with each other. But there is like a peer evaluation form for them as well. I don't know what's happening to me, sorry. That creates the external motivation. So it's there for them that if someone is not equally collaborating within the team, you have this opportunity to tell me whenever you want to that it's not working, and then I will start to interfere and try to help you through the process. I should say, since they're master's students, I never had any major issue with the group work. If it was an undergrad, I would say that would be a different story. But for masters, final year, final unit, I think they already know how they need to work. So I really need to remind them about the importance of group work, or I never had an issue. And actually, I think they really appreciate having this opportunity to work as a team as well, and sort of just try to learn different skills as well. So yeah, they usually leave the room happy in the 13. So we'll see. I'll try to inform you at the end, but I'm very hopeful that would work also this semester as well. We'll see. Yeah.
Any other questions, Chris?
That's really interesting.
Thank you.
And you kind of mentioned how, your master's level students
Yeah.
already have that experience, plus they're at the capstone.
Yeah.
So I was wondering if there's anything that, because bachelor degree students may be in a very different basket and work in the presenting, that stuff may not be So what would you take away from this experience
To the
to apply to the?
undergrad.
Yeah.
So in the undergrad, the unit is called marketing management, and they do also need to submit a final real world report as well. But in this one, I do it a bit differently. Firstly, that one is individual report, so it's not a group report. And for the briefing session, since it's a big unit, I have 300 students in that unit and like 10 to 12 tutorials. So it's impossible. And the lecture is pre-recorded. So there is no, by the way, I have a live lecture for the capstone unit, but for the undergrad, it's pre-recorded. So that's why for the briefing session, we usually have an online briefing session, which is being recorded, and I will upload that on Island for students. For Q&A, industry mentorship, that would be a live, which usually happens around week 12. And students can come and ask their questions. Again, that's online as well, because I want to make sure that everyone can manage to come. And if not, I would be able to upload the recording for them. And then at the end, they will submit the individual report. So it's not a group work, and the requirements are quite different from this one as well. And that's how I manage it. So it worked. I tried to sort of, navigate the issues this way for the undergrad as well. And it's working. So I've been doing it for around 4 years for the undergrad unit.
Wow.
It's what?
So maybe I missed something. There's no presentation in the.
No, only a written individual report for the undergrad one.
Thanks, Pardis.
My pleasure.
If you didn't get your question, hang on to it. Thanks.
Happy.
Over to you, Ali.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much, Jacqueline, for your invitation and for your introduction. My name is Ali. I'm usually presenting this together with my colleague Mauricio, who unfortunately couldn't make it here today. But the team is bigger, so we have Jennifer Ruskin and Mari Taylor in our team. Sorry. Okay, I won't try this. And that's about our project. It's part of a bigger portfolio of projects on using artificial intelligence for education. I would like to start this with presenting a number of challenges, which are quite common in any classroom these days. Can you guess what is the first challenge looking at the photo? Someone reading a book?
Engagement.
Engagement, exactly. So students are not engaged that much to the content. And I have a personal experience with this. So my experience is about my cybersecurity governance class, which is a unit, a postgrad unit offered within the School of Business about cybersecurity. So we are not looking at the technicality of cybersecurity, but we are looking at the soft procedural organizational governance aspects of cybersecurity. And the major part of participants, students in that class are coming from our Master of IT units. Okay, so they are postgraduate students with usually a background in information technology, software engineering, hardware engineering, and they are doing a degree in information technology, and you ask them to come and sit in a business class. And you can guess how engaged they are. Now, if you take it to the job environment, that's quite opposite, because the majority of those students, when they go to the job market, they will get employed in the compliance or policy development or education, organizational education training sort of jobs. So in reality, a good knowledge about governance of cybersecurity is very important for them. But they are still looking for something like hardware, software, I don't know, a firewall, etc. And then the other reality is that the majority of solutions that we use, at least in Australia, are like off-the-shelf solutions. And there are very small jobs for people who want to actually work on the development of cybersecurity. So that's the first challenge. What is the second challenge? This is harder to guess. We have teachers on top, students down. That's personalization of education. Okay, now, in that unit, this semester, I had very close to 300 students. We have lectures of 200-ish, 2 lectures, and then we have tutorials of 60 students. Honestly, we have very little opportunity to personalize teaching and learning experience for all of those students. And it usually happens well, I invite them for consultation. A number of them come in, ask questions. My teaching team do their best to personalize, to have conversation with each student, but it's very hard to personalize. And usually the only opportunity that we get to provide personalized feedback to each student is in their assignment, which is usually very late. Okay, so that's the second challenge. And the third challenge. The challenge is very close to this community, and that's employability. So how can we show the relevance of what we teach to students in the real job environment? And how we can prepare them for their job, especially for something like a job interview. So in our other units, like our capstone unit, we try to focus on something like soft skills, how you can present yourself in a job interview, how you can look at the interviewee, what type of questions you can ask, etc. But something that we seldom touch on is how you can present your technical capabilities in a job environment. How you can explain your cybersecurity skills, cybersecurity governance skills in a job interview, and how you can practice that. So these are the main 3 challenges that we are focusing on in this unit, in this project, and we are using artificial intelligence. Okay, now look at this figure from left-hand side, and that's math teachers protesting against using calculator classrooms. That possibly resonates with some of academics' response to a technology called generative AI. We try to protest, we try to consider it as an enemy. That perspective is valid in many courses, in many environments. But something that we try to do is we try to think of it as a friend, as an assistant, as someone who can help us teach and do something like develop or reimagine the student experience, improve their critical feedback and critical thinking, provide them with personalized feedback, and create scalable support. Just to mention that we are, okay, I will explain further this. So we developed this project called Career Talk, which is an AI-enhanced employment preparation tool that will help students to prepare themselves for a job interview based on the content that, or the area that we inject into the tool, okay? So it could be around a unit or it could be around a bigger course. And the focus of this tool is only on technical capability. It's not on soft skills, okay? So we have other tools. We frankly have AI tools that will help a student to improve their soft skills by simulating a job interview environment. But our focus is only on technicality. And by technicality, I mean discipline knowledge. So no matter if you are a cybersecurity expert or marketing expert or engineering expert, we try to inject the content into the tool and then simulate a job interview environment. So this is how the tool works. We have our students here, and we have our LLM API here, which is basically our tool. So the tool will basically consider the content of the course or a unit and some data from job market, what are the requirements in the job market, and filters those questions to simulate the environment of a job interview to students and provide customized questions. And that's not the end of it. It also receives students' responses and provide them with feedback. Okay, so we have two different versions of that. The first version is interactive and the other version is written. And this is something else that we are trying to work on, and that's an analysis of the skill gaps that we have witnessed for students. If we have time, I will quickly just present this video to you to show you how the tool looks like.
Simulation platform that is designed to help students prepare for job interviews specific to their job roles. For me, it's cybersecurity.
Receive an alert about unusual traffic on the organization's network. How would you respond to this incident as a cybersecurity analyst?
Carrier Talk is a generative AI technology which is trained mainly by the big job advertisement, which emphasize what I understand in the classroom based on materials and shows how it can be applied in a realistic industry.
It's hard for people like me who's looking into getting into a new field and not know anyone. Career Talk helped me in preparing for the possible questions.
The feedback I received was particularly valuable. It highlighted areas I could improve, such as providing more structured and concise answers. Overall, I would say it's a great resource for reducing interview anxiety and enhancing job readiness.
Okay, so like I said before, we can customize that tool for any discipline. We can customize it for a course in general. We can customize it for a specific unit. But obviously, it cannot. Some of the units are quite basic, and you cannot expect students to practice something like this, but possibly for any level 3 or level 8 unit, we can implement that for your unit, or if you are on a roll, we can also think about implementing the tool on the course level. So this is the team working on this project. If you are interested to use it in your unit or course, feel free to contact us and we can have a further conversation about it. Thank you very much.
Any questions about this very interesting tool? Oh, look, let's just go around the room.
Is there anything online as well?
Yeah, almost.
Oh, yes. Okay, any questions online?
Can you say a bit about career talk and assessments from Jen?
Sorry, can you repeat this?
So Jen Ruskin has asked, can you say a
Oh,
bit
okay.
about career talk and assessments?
So at the moment we have used Career Talk as an activity within several units. So at the moment, I think around 2,000 students have used it so far. We have so far not extended the tool to a assessment activity. There may be specific challenges about that, especially with the privacy and the ownership of the material that the students produce. For that reason, we have tried to keep it at that level. There are other projects that we are working on at the moment, and we have used AI as an assessment tool. But it can be somehow extended to a assessment, possibly in capstone and to units like that.
Sounds like a really good preparation if you're doing a Viva assessment. You might practice.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes.
So it could be scaffolded, it could be like a formative kind of activity. Yeah.
Yeah, and just something that Jennifer mentioned. Yes, so for assessment, the way we have done this is that we provide a student this as an activity for students, and then basically gather the reflection of their experience with that. So that's the type of assessment activity that we have done.
Artis, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I'm just still thinking about my question.
Okay.
One of them is very interesting project. Well done on working on it. Is it possible to see a demo of?
Absolutely, absolutely. So there are two different versions of that. The version I showed to you was the interactive version of that, which is more interactive, more interesting for students. They can even have the conversation with the tool. But there is less opportunity for customization. The other version is the chatbot version, which is written, which is less interactive, obviously, but more customizable. And I can present both of them to you. Just shoot me an email and I'll provide you with the link.
Scope and the benefit of this project for the whole Macquarie University students is massive.
I hope so.
Question?
Yeah, just a comment and a question. The comment is that if I understood you, you're saying this is really a good tool or maybe targeted at getting students to, rather than develop soft skills, to be able to get the expertise, their technical expertise across.
That's right, that's right.
So when you were, and then when I was listening to it, I thought, it's actually doing, to me, it's doing both because if you have that technical expertise in your head, but you can't convey it to AI, the AI tool, then this is really, and one of the comments from the students seemed to indicate, they said that gave them bits and feedback and everything. So I'm just it seems to me as a I don't know anything about this, but it's really, it actually addresses both that technical, the ability to convey that technical expertise.
We didn't have soft skills in mind when we proposed this project. And still there are things like simply the way you look at an interviewer. Okay, that's something that we work on in our employability unit. That's not something that we can assess even in the interactive version of the tool. For that reason, I still tend to say, and especially considering the fact that we also have a AI-based tool developed for soft skills, I tend to highlight that this is not really developed for that purpose. If you are interested, you can use that interview 360.
Yeah, right.
Yes. Thank you very much.
No, just that was my reaction. But I have a question as well. So, and that is about the two, I guess, data sources. I'm not a, you've got the job employment data.
Correct.
And then you've got the course content data.
Yes.
So I was wondering if you also use that as a tool to assess the relevance of your course or unit curricula to market requirement.
That could be a different project. So for your information, we have a massive data of 250 million job advertisement that we have tried to use it to perform that kind of assessment. Yes, we have started and we are still very eager to collaborate with everyone who is interested to work on that area. I have recently published something on the relevance of the skills in the tourism jobs. And we can continue the conversation on that. That's also a very big data and very good data that we have that can be used for several.
Thanks.
I've just come from an engineering workshop where they're redesigning their whole curriculum. And a lot of them were saying, oh, but we should be going to the employers and talking to them, and why don't we? So yeah, any of that sort of information for them, I think.
Absolutely. Well, that's obviously part of the data that we need to design units and our course, but that part is very, very big.
You may squeeze it in, Pat.
Just very curious, does it give suggested answers to the students as well? Like if they ask, so it gives them the question, but does it give them the suggested answer if they, I mean, they might in the interactive version?
The interactive version, yes. It provides them with feedback. So the feedback is like, when you said that, you could say this.
Okay.
There is a big problem with generative AI, and they call it hallucination problem. And the hallucination problem always tries to be very friendly, very, kind to the user. And we have this problem here, unfortunately. That's a design challenge that we have, that we couldn't design it in a way that is really harsh to a student and say, oh, this is incorrect. It seldom says something like that, but it provides some sort of feedback. And if you say something which is quite irrelevant, yes, very politely, it suggests that, what about thinking of it in a different way?
As long as it tells them how to improve the answer.
Absolutely, yes.
I think that in that section also learning happens as well, so.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Ali. So such an interesting tool.
Thank
And I think that's the other thing is, when you started off talking about, we have this fear sometimes of technology and AI, to hear a story where it can be used in a different positive way is encouraging. Deb, there you are.
Here I am, yeah.
Now,
Okay, let me share my screen.
and I'm going to stop sharing for the minute. Oh, might help if I put my phone.
You just, I think, need to minimize.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can see my screen?
Yes.
Is that all right for everybody?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to talk about how to manage industry partners, particularly in the context of the unit that I'm the convener for COP 3850, which is the PACE unit. It's for most of our majors, it's the capstone, but not for the cybersecurity one. But it's the PACE, the Work Integrated Learning Unit, for all of our computing students. So this semester, I started with about 440 students, so 70 teams. Yeah, so it's with six in a team, or even 7 in some teams, which is insane. So yeah, it's quite a challenge to get enough industry partners. But that's only one aspect of it. So I'm just using, I've repurposed the slides that we use in week 1 to cover some of the information. Okay, so starting at the beginning, how does one find the partners? Well, that is a challenge, and I just make this first point is that it never stops. So if you're, in my experience as a PACE convener, my job never stops. There is no between semesters. Because between semesters you're looking for the next project, you're debriefing on the previous one. So an important point is that you can't do it on your own. So I'm, so grateful for the PACE team who handle a lot of that work. So a lot of inquiries that come into the university to be PACE partners. They certainly handle all the administrative part of things. Often it does involve me meeting with them as well to talk through. What is really useful is to have some information that they can look at, which can be brochures, testimonials, examples of what other industry partners have done. Of course, you have to be very careful and you can't be specific because most of that is, quite private to that organisation. Having videos which might talk about the student experience as well as the partner experience. So that, it is an ongoing commitment. It is not just from week 1 to week 13. And in fact, into the exam period, teams can still be working on projects because when they hand it over, it needs to be at an agreed point. Okay, so a key part of finding a partner is to make it easy for them to be a partner, which means, as in for everyone, how to make someone say yes to something you're asking them to do. Well, that's to make it as easy as possible. And so rather than trying to place, 420 or more interns in 420 organisations, they do work in teams, which is also part of their requirements. For the Australian Computer Society does require our students to know how to manage projects and to know how to work in teams. So they act as consultants, which means that from the partner's perspective, they need to have a problem or an opportunity. Okay, so sometimes it's some opportunity they want to exploit rather than actually having a current problem. There may be, software, hardware, licenses, data sets that they need to provide relevant to their particular problem and possible solution. But the key thing they need to do is have a problem and provide feedback on what the student teams have done. Then in terms of participation, we require them to attend in week 1. So we have a week 1 induction, and then we require them to attend, it can be online as well. We prefer it to be in person, but we do have interstate and international partners as well. So obviously they're online. And so the final presentations, we also expect them to attend, and they actually provide marks for all the teams that they watch. And in the induction, that's when they actually kick off their teams and tell the students what they will be doing. So to provide that feedback, we do want them to have regular meetings with teams. We usually say every 2 weeks, ideally every week, but every couple of weeks. And we have assessment structured, notwithstanding the 3 assessment model, where students submit deliverables essentially every 3 weeks. So following agile processes. I've got 2 crazy dogs here who are sitting quietly, who've just decided to rumble now. Can you hear the noise they're making?
No.
No. Okay, good, because okay. I wasn't sure whether you could or not. Okay. So industry partners need to be in contact. So we require them to have alternative person as well, so that if something happens in their life, planned or unplanned, there is someone else that the teams can contact. So, that actually can be quite a challenge, and it does certainly happen that industry partners go AWOL. But following agile processes, the key thing of the partner is to see what the students have done and say, yes, that's what I want. No, it needs to change in this way. So that's providing the students with a meaningful experience as well, because it's very important that they're not only getting feedback, but they're doing something that is of value to their partner. A key part is to manage risk and expectations. So we say to industry partners, think of something that has been on your wish list, something that you would like some time spent on it, but you haven't within your organisation had the opportunity to do so. It should not be something that is critical to their business, and things do actually come quite unstuck if that does happen. It shouldn't happen, because we don't make promises. We do not guarantee. Certainly, we do not guarantee a product that's going to, appear on the Apple Store, within the time frame of 17 weeks if you include the mid-semester break as well. So we do talk about delivering a minimal viable product, and a very important part of what students learn is to negotiate and to scope out the project and what they'll be doing according to the resources they have, which is basically their other team members, and that needs to be very much negotiated with the industry partner. So the students are also learning to manage expectations. Okay, and I've put in capitals here. The activity obviously must meet the learning outcomes of the unit. So if you look at our learning outcomes, it includes things such as project management, working in teams, professional ethics, dealing with a client. We have multiple different streams, so it handles all of the computing students. So, which range from cyber, data science, games, information systems, artificial intelligence. Yeah, I'm sure I've left some out. And so we need to make sure that what they have in mind is going to meet those requirements. For that, we have an activity statement, and I imagine that is used for other units as well, so you're probably quite familiar with that. Okay, during the semester, so that's where the largest part of the relationship is happening. And so it's very important, as I said, there's setting expectations beforehand. So, what sorts of projects are appropriate and what you can expect from it, what other projects have been like. You need to provide a problem and provide feedback. But then we also need to continue to manage those expectations during the semester. We kick off in week 1. We hit the ground running. It's an induction night. The first 1 hour is me speaking to the industry partners and the teams at the same time. So we've been having that in Macquarie Theatre, given our size, and the place is packed out, which is a great experience because, well, as you heard from Ali, there's not that, IT students aren't that keen on attending. So it's one of the rare units where we have a packed room. And what we used to do in the past was, it might be PACE, or if I had two academics on the unit, one would talk to the industry partners in that first hour, and then the other would talk to the students. Probably for financial reasons, we brought it together, but in fact, it is a really good idea that both parties hear what the other party has been told. So a key part of what I need to do throughout the semester is ensure that I'm closing the gap. So the students are telling me one thing, industry partners telling me something else, industry partners saying that they're waiting for something for the teams, or they haven't, been able to organise something, or a certain thing is happening. The teams are telling me that they're waiting on the industry partner and they haven't received various different things. So I need to be, in the loop for that. Part of reducing the risk is we give each industry partner 2 teams, and sometimes it can be more than that. They might host multiple projects. So we do that so that if one team doesn't deliver, and I keep emphasising this phrase to the students, something of value, then the other one is likely to, it just increases the likelihood of a successful outcome. And also from it immediately reduces the number of partners that I need. And also when it comes to marking what they've delivered, it gives us a way of calibrating. One team will say, oh, we don't need any user interfaces, or we don't need any to collect any data. And the other one will have a whole, data schema and whatever. So it helps us to, have a bigger picture from different perspectives as well. We do also, to reduce risk, we do get industry partners to provide feedback and provide some marks at the end. They now provide only a mark out of 5. It used to be a mark out of 10. But you get some industry partners, whether through laziness or just being absolutely delighted, want to give everybody 10 out of 10, whereas you'll have another industry partner who might, and it's meant to be per individual, not per team, who then goes through and, might be much harsher. So it is important to get their feedback, and it does, because they're doing a project for the industry partner, is very important that when we assess the students, it does take into account the feedback we get from the partner. And so they're not two separate things where we're saying, oh, you're doing a great job, and in fact, the industry partner is not happy with what they're doing, because at the end of the day, their requirements, and if they're satisfied, is really up to the industry partner. And that's what the students are meant to learn as well, that it's unlike an assessment task that, is very well specified. There will be, if the user interface if the industry partner doesn't like the look of your user interface, well, it'd be nice if they can give reasons and examples of what they would prefer, but frankly, the client is the client, and if they don't like it, then, that's something that the students need to learn. Okay.
Yeah, we're at the 10-minute mark.
Okay, so I'm going to jump through. So these are just the slides, just to. So this is something to the students, so that they know about working with the client, and so it's useful that the industry partner can see that. And you're going to get access to these slides later.
Yeah.
A key thing is this is part of the managing expectations, to make them aware that this is something new for the students, and that they will have a range of different students with different skills. And so be prepared, even though you might have this solution in mind, something else might need to be negotiated. And then also to make all parties know that we're available. As you can see here, I'm pointing out the responsibilities of all parties, and so that's again really helpful for all of those parties to know that each has responsibilities, and certainly a three-way relationship. Okay, very quickly, just after, again, as I was saying, it never stops. It is important to evaluate how well it went, and I don't know, in recent years it seems increasingly the need to say we are not having those partners again. I've had a very bad incident happen this semester, the worst ever. So it actually had to disband 4 teams, which wasn't easy given how many students we had, because of issues with industry partners. So that's pretty unusual. It is important to maintain those relationships, and mostly we have ongoing and repeat partners who, it might be the same project which another team carry on with, which is a great experience for students, because that's commonly what they'll expect to do in industry. And yeah, so also follow them up, make them part of the community, so invite them to university events, not just PACE events. And, we can also make life easier for them, so there's not too much paperwork for them to do. So I think that's all I've got. So thank you for that.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Questions for Deborah? Nat? Nat's just going to come around near a microphone.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm interested in the logistics for you as the convener. Are you across all of the information coming to and from the sponsors and the teams you delegate that to the rest of the staff? How does that work with that number of groups?
Yeah, it is really difficult. So I have to, so one thing which was on those slides in the middle, but I didn't get a chance to talk about it. I get weekly reports from the students. And so I'm reading that. It's structured in a way so that I know what tasks each one's doing and also what obstacles there are. So, you know, what meetings they've had with the client. So that tries to keep me in the picture. At the start, I respond to all 70 teams and I tell them that, but after that, I only respond to if there's issues or there's something that I see or they specifically ask me a question. With the industry partners, I send them, and it's down now to 3 surveys a semester. They're very quick to do because they're just multiple, like a like-it scale thing as to, did you receive the requirements document? And then yes, if it's a yes, for example, it reflected my requirements or it was professionally presented. So a number of things, so they can do that really quickly. And I use their scorings to moderate the marks that the students get. I meet with teams when there are issues. The very first year, so I've been running teams since 99 and certainly industry projects since 2003. So PACE hasn't been around that long. The very first PACE units we ran, I think I had 4 or 5 teams. And so in that situation, I think I attended all the meetings, but obviously that is not possible now. So I need to assure people in week 1, to communicate. So the other thing which I didn't mention, it's sort of not on the partner side, but on the students get training in week 2, team training, and also as part of that, I give them scenarios of issues that can arise with industry partners and also making them aware of my role as a negotiator. And so I get often involved in 3-way conversations or just with the students. They are encouraged to try to sort things out, but often I do need to get involved in rescoping things. Yeah, but it is a challenge, and essentially, I just, as the things come through, I continuously reading those reports because you have to jump on things quickly. Yeah.
Any other questions for Deb?
One. Do I need to come in?
Yep. Millica's just coming for we haven't got a roaming mic.
Apologies, everyone, for my late arrival.
It's quite easy to hear in that room. Yeah.
Oh, you can.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. I was just wondering, are there any lessons we could all take away, given how much you can share about what went horribly wrong this semester? Because I imagine it's a very well-oiled machine and you've got checks and balances in place to deal with any group issues or issues with partners that may arise. So is there anything you can share with us about how to quickly spot and navigate and how to deal with things and what to watch out for?
Okay. Similarly with when you're finding partners, I have to get PACE involved. Okay, so the science faculty, the PACE team, first I'll talk to Christy, but we then had to get more people involved and yeah, I think it went quite up the chain with this most recent thing. Yeah, so that is important that you get others involved. So sometimes it's health and well-being. So you don't have to solve every problem yourself, although often, yeah, it's often I am the main one that needs to sort those things out. In this particular incident that happened, I guess if I hadn't read between the lines from some emails that were coming from the industry partner, I wouldn't have even known there was a major problem. Because what's really weird, there were 4 teams involved and none of them had contacted me to say what was happening. And that's really weird. And then even later when we were looking at, do we need to disband them? So 2 teams essentially were being, I would say, abused. Well, that's not taking it too far at all. And the other teams weren't. What's really weird is that the 2 teams that weren't being abused wanted to leave the partner, and the other 2 wanted to stay. We're going, this is Stockholm syndrome. Like, this is just so weird.
Yeah.
So I think, you need to stay on the pulse of things. Really, there were just some things in what was being written that didn't sound good. And so also so then I met with that person, but not on my own. Okay, so I had a couple of other people there as well. Yeah.
I think interesting, Deb, that despite all the steps and procedures and tools and mechanisms you have in place to monitor relationships, to establish expectations, to monitor progress, all that stuff, we need to be aware that things can still go wrong. And I think your point about making sure that you don't think that you have to solve it on your own is really important. I think that's a really good thing for us to remember, because as unit conveners, we often think the buck stops with us, and in many respects it does, but there are times that we call on the expertise and advice.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I take it very seriously and certainly on the responsibility side, but there's multiple instances of different things, student behaviour, whatever, where it's just not appropriate for you to make a decision yourself.
Yeah.
Or times where you might say, well, this is what I want to do, and run it by the Director of Education or someone else, because you've got to be transparent in the decisions that you're making.
I think that's wonderful advice. Thank you, Deb. We're at the 10 to 5 mark, and I knew this.
Sorry.
I had this I went, we're often ambitious, but I like to be ambitious. So I kind of knew we might get to this point. We do. Thank you, Deb.
You're welcome. Yeah.
I did have this slide that had the toolkit, but the deck's going to go out. So what I'm going to really encourage people to do is actually to go and look at that tool deck, the slide deck, sorry. Come on. Oh, I have to go back to share. Sorry. I'll get there. Maybe I will.
You just click on the photo.
Maybe this one? No, this one. This one.
Then on top right, you click on the browse picture.
Yeah.
No, on top. Yes. And then 2 arrows.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Even having glasses on doesn't help. There we go. So in the slide deck, you just need to trust me. There is a slide that's it. I often have to say this to my students, just trust me. There is a slide in the slide deck that has a link to the toolkit. Now, Jen, if you're still listening, my understanding is that they have to get access. Anybody who would like access to the toolkit needs to go via you. Is that correct? Can you put something in that chat that maybe Kate's looking at?
Oh, she's going to talk to us. There she is.
Hi, everyone.
Isn't this perfect?
It is an MQBS platform, but I think it was shared with the whole WIL CoP community. So I think you can all access it, but if you have any trouble, yeah, it'll just give you a message to request access, and that shouldn't be a problem.
So it is an awesome toolkit. It has all sorts of resources. What Jen has done is also uses as an opportunity to showcase people's good practice. So if you are doing something that you think, gee, this might be helpful to my fellow willers, then contact Jen, and I'm sure she can find a way to add that to the toolkit. So sometimes we're struggling along with things, and you don't need to struggle. Someone has already invented that wheel, and you may find that wheel in that toolkit. Or you may have heard something today that you go, crumbs, I'm really challenging scaling things up. I have trouble managing expectations. Oh, I could take lessons from how Deborah has this staged approach. She does the induction, make sure all parties are in the room at the same time, hearing the same message. Or you're thinking, I'm struggling to get my students to understand how to articulate their technical skills in meaningful ways to prospective employers. Aha, there is another tool out there. Pardis is using the Sustainable Development Goals. I mean, that's a whole space that I'd really, again, this connection between what's happening in the world and bringing it into our classrooms. Designing activities that aren't linked to assessment and students still actively engaging with those activities. There are all these really great lessons we can learn from one another. And I'm deeply appreciative that people have taken time out of their busy schedules to share. And that is what we call a wrap. So that is the end of the WIL CoP events for 2025. There is food available. 2026, there'll be more events. And we will continue to try and deliver sessions that speak to your interests and needs. So there you go. Thank you to our speakers, if we can give them. Thanks, Philippa, for teaming up. And we did this as all this behind the scenes stuff, we did this together. And Emma Wang, who organised the catering. So these things don't happen. It's a team thing, like WIL. It just doesn't happen with one person.
Thank you for your tremendous effort.
Yeah,
that's
right. Okay, that's it.
Maybe one more thing. Would like to contribute to the organising team. We're always taking new members. Please come on. Even if you can only do a little bit, it always helps.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, Jen.
Add that if anyone has any requests or recommendations or suggestions for topics for next year, it would be great to get input on that as well as volunteers.
Can I just say one thing there? One of the takeaways for me, because I'm always sort of reflecting on what can I learn and take on, was Deborah highlighted that often when we work with partners, we think about problems that partners might need solving. And Deborah said, but there's also opportunities. And I went, aha, yes, of course. So that's the thing. I'm now going to reframe the conversations that I have with partners for next year. What are the opportunities that they might like explored or investigated? So think about what you might take away and do next year.